Xbox On. Hey everybody, welcome to Xbox On, episode 234 for the week of November 23rd, 2023. Happy Thanksgiving if you're listening to this the day it releases. Of course, it is Thanksgiving. Maybe you're on the way to grandma's house or you're on the way to your in-laws' house and you're thinking, God damn, I really wish I would just die right now because I don't want to have this day with my extended family. But hey, at least on the car ride over, you can listen to your favorite podcast, Xbox On, where we can talk about all sorts of nonsensical things and it can add just a little bit of sunshine to your otherwise grim holiday. Now, I'm here with a very special guest this week. Can you guess who it is based on the sound? Hang on, I'll shut up for a second so you can listen in. Yeah, if you guess Kronky, you were right. I'm here with Kronky this week for something a little different. You can already tell things are different. We didn't do the regular intro here. We're doing a special Thanksgiving extravaganza. At the time of recording this, I'm in the process of moving. It's a big holiday. There's no news going on right now, so I figured let's do something a little different, a little special. And so we're doing an extravaganza, which we'll get into in a second, kind of the rules of what we're doing. It's not a regular news-based episode. It's a fun one. So hang on a second. Let's introduce Kronky, and then we'll get into what all we have planned for today. Kronky, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yes, it's weird when you have your brother talk to you like he's like some special personality that you've invited to come on your professional podcast. But yeah, I mean, obviously, you're probably the most well-known character in the comments section because you've been there since pretty much the beginning, along with Dead Captain James, and then that one guy that used to basically threaten to kill me if I didn't like the video games he liked. He's gone now, but there's that guy. So yeah, the audience likes you. The audience talks about you sometimes. I feel like this is appropriate to have you on the podcast. Okay, I'm looking forward to what we have planned today. I've already briefed you kind of on it. I did a bad job of briefing you on what we're doing today, but I think you'll have a lot of fun with it. I think the audience will have a lot of fun with it. So I'm looking forward to talking about what it is we're doing today. And
and what are we doing today?
Oh yeah, thank you. I've been drawing it out until you'd asked. So we have a little bit of a game to play. Xbox currently has roughly 36 teams under their umbrella now, with Activision Blizzard King being a done deal. Obviously, they have Bethesda. It's been a thing for a while. And then back in 2018, they did their whole slew of acquisitions, including Obsidian and all those good guys. So we got a lot of teams under the Xbox umbrella. And I thought, well, you know what? Everyone likes to rag on why is this team making this game? And why is this guy, why isn't Phil Spencer doing this? And if I were in charge, I wouldn't let 343 make another Halo. And everyone's got their little armchair, what they would do if they were in charge. So I thought, you know what, wouldn't it be fun if we did if you were Phil Spencer, if you were the head guy at Xbox, what would you do? What if you could take all the 36 roughly teams? It's not exactly. I think we're technically missing Activision Shanghai. I don't know if they count, whatever. And you're basically assigning a project to each of these teams. So I got a little bit of synopsis for you to kind of set the stage, and then we can elaborate on it and just jump right in. So here's the synopsis. It reads: Phil Spencer, Matt Booty, and Sarah Bond celebrated a beautiful Xbox Thanksgiving meal together. But a jealous Jim Ryan poisoned their food, causing them all to fall ill. In their absence, Satya Nadella has tasked none other than you with being the sole CEO of gaming, so that the Xbox ship can continue its smooth sail onward. While some of the teams have released games in recent histories, many of the Xbox teams have not put out a single product in either a long time or in their entire existence as part of the Xbox family. With this newfound responsibility thrust upon you, you must assign a new project to each and every team that comprises the Xbox, Bethesda, Activision, Blizzard, King family. Choose wisely, choose passionately, but whatever you choose, just know that the internet will crucify you for it.
Man, Bethesda, Activision, Blizzard, King family does not roll off the tongue. They have got to simplify that.
Agree to disagree. Yeah, no, I still stand by that. Xbox needs to slowly and eventually just fold everything under Xbox Game Studios, but whatever. Especially because Activision's name is just a big name, but it doesn't really, like, there's no passion or love for Activision, you know? Like, you could eventually just make Treyarch an Xbox Game Studios team and no one's going to feel like betrayed, you know?
Yeah, it's like COD, Blizzard, King, really. It's not really Activision.
You might as well. I mean, I can kind of understand keeping the Bethesda name around, but the only name they have that really deserves to live on is maybe Blizzard. You know, kind of like how Disney is like Disney and Pixar. It's because Pixar's actually better than Disney, so you need to keep Pixar alive. So I feel like Blizzard kind of elicits that response to, where it's like everyone loves Blizzard. They are like them as a whole entity, as a brand unto itself. And
yeah, they're probably the as a brand, they're probably the biggest part of Xbox as far as like studios go. I would argue that they probably are the most well known and well respected.
Well, it's just
Actually,
that anything that comes out of Blizzard, which can be a lot of games, is just synonymous with quality minus Overwatch. So I feel like
even Overwatch though, it's a high quality game. People have their gripes, but then it's still
moving
very
on.
widely
So
played.
here's the deal: we got you and I both went to games. I'm not about to let someone talk well of Overwatch on my podcast. No way. We both pulled the same Games Radar article in a lazy rush to find out what a comprehensive list of all Xbox owned teams looks like, and so we both copied and pasted the list in their order. So that is, if you're wondering why is he talking about this team after this team after this team, just know it's because we copied and pasted the list from Games Radar. So yeah, we're starting off with the king of Xbox, what I still consider the crown jewel of Team Xbox, even though I think many would assume that, or would say that's no longer the case. And then we're just going to kind of go in order. So I'm going to let you, since you're the guest, you're going to go first. 30 seconds to a minute. Explain what project you're assigning this team, and then you kick it to me, and then I'll do 30 seconds to a minute, and then we can like go back and forth on each other a little bit before we have to move on to the next team. So we'll try to keep it, 36 teams. We got a lot to get to. We'll try to keep it relatively quick and get the pace going, which is always a challenge for me, but hopefully you can help keep me grounded with this. One last thing I want to just reiterate in case the synopsis didn't make it clear. The assumption is that every game these teams have put out exists, but every game that hasn't been put out. So for example, we know Playground Games is making Fable. That doesn't exist in this world. That's because that game is not actually out. You have to assume that game never existed. It was never announced. No one knows about it, and everyone's wondering what is Playground Games working on. So again, another example. We all know that Machine Games is working on an Indiana Jones game. In this scenario, Indiana Jones was never announced. We don't know anything about it. We're all wondering what's the next game for Machine Games. So that way it gives you kind of full reign to do whatever the hell you want. You can be serious about it. You can be goofy about it. Just have fun. Okay. Are you
Okay,
ready or do you have any questions?
no, I'm good to go. Three, four,
Okay.
three.
Starting with 343.
Okay, so actually, I would give them two projects because I like to overwork my teams. So first of all, the battle royale that the community has been quote unquote saying is rumored. I haven't heard anything from official sources, but people keep saying it's happening. That battle royale, let's make it happen. People keep talking about it because they want it. Number one, and number two, it kind of makes sense. Halo Infinite feels really good. I could see it in like an Apex Legends kind of context. So Halo Battle Royale, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but bring back the armor abilities from Reach and Halo 4 only for the Battle Royale, but it would make sense to have a jetpack or to have the grapple hook from Infinite or whatever, right? Let's bring back the armor abilities in a Halo Battle Royale. The other project is totally out of left field. Let's separate 343 from Halo for a second. I think that 343 has some of the best cinematics and storytelling of the first person shooter genre. So let's let them have free reign to do some kind of like Mass Effect style big RPG grand epic thing. They have full freedom to make an original thing, but let's let 343 just go wild to make something crazy, with the only context that it's just a big grandiose epic adventure. Um, that's kind of my idea for 343.
Yeah, I like that. The only thing I gotta say about that is if you do something like I get your idea and I'm in support of it, like putting like the Spartan abilities and stuff it, as different abilities within the battle royale, but then it starts to have the COD effect where all those features and in gameplay mechanics start to poison their way into the campaign mode and the multiplayer mode, and before you know it, everything's Warzone.
Yeah, and that's fair, but if you don't do that, I think the game is going to get too samey and people are going to stop playing it. It has to be something that's constantly changing and evolving and adapting.
No, I agree. I think it's an interesting choice to have them do a battle royale, but because what
Oh.
I have planned for 343 is very different. It's not battle royale, because I want 343 to finish what they fucking started. I think it's ironic that they took Bungie's franchise that ended with a game which marketing campaign with its marketing campaign being finish the fight, and then they proceeded to tell a whole new story where they couldn't fucking finish their story. So for what I want for 343 is to give Halo its Destiny the Taken King moment. I want Halo Infinite to still be worked on. I don't want them to move on and make Halo 7. I want you to take the next couple of years, restaffing 343, getting the right team together, getting the vision in place, continue to work on Halo Infinite's multiplayer as they've been doing a great job of lately, new maps, new seasons, all that. And then in about 2 years, just stay super quiet. In 2 years, have a big ass Destiny the Taken King moment. We're like, boom, here is the reinvention of Halo Infinite. This game is still going to stick around. We're still going to invest in it. We're still going to have more story campaign content. We're going to have new multiplayer modes and continue to double down. And basically it's going to be like a sequel within a game. And then this expansion will tell more of what was supposed to happen after Halo Infinite while continuing to kind of address stuff that was supposed to happen after Halo 5, kind of in the way Halo Infinite does, where it fills in the gaps a little bit, but not really. It like kind of just alludes to Halo 5. Kind of dig a little more into that. Move the story forward. Tell us about this new enemy faction. Also tell us about what the fuck happened in between Halo 5 and Infinite. And don't start something without finishing it. That's all I'm saying. So that is my one and only hope for 343. That's the task I'm going to put on them.
It's funny that I didn't even think about that, but yes, more story, finish the Halo 5 story and ended on a crazy cliffhanger only to just kind of skip that and move on to a new thing was just absurd. So yeah, I like it. I like it.
I can't wait for the next Halo game to literally just ignore Halo Infinite and do to Halo Infinite what they did to Halo 5. And so we can just keep filling in the gaps through some fucking books that only 7 people will read. But yeah. Anyway, that's kind of an easy one. Obviously, it's an important one, but it's an easy one. It's there's no right or wrong answer. I think either way, if you went with your thing or my thing, people just want them to put a needle in the Halo arm and inject some adrenaline in or something. All right, let's move on to Alpha Dog Games. For those who don't know, Alpha Dog Games is a mobile team. So
yes. Yeah. So just for reference, their most notable game is Mighty Doom. Came out I think a few months ago. It's actually not bad. It's kind of fun. I mean,
I played a little bit. It's fine. I had a fun 10 minutes with it.
Exactly. So in the vein of Mighty Doom, I thought, why stop Halo at 343? Let's do one of those, the Halo Spartan Strike, Spartan Assault, those twin stick like mobile games that they made. I think why not let them take a third crack at that? I actually had a lot of fun with both of those games. This seems like a team that already is halfway there. Mighty Doom's not twin sticks; it's single stick because you only move. But add one more stick, and you've got one of those Halo games. So I'm there for it. I think they could probably pull that off and do a great job. So that is my vote for Alpha Dog. Nothing super creative. I'm sure you'll have something better, but yeah, I would let them do one of those Halo mobile games.
That's actually a really good idea. I love twin stick shooters, and obviously I love Halo. So I want those games to be good. I actually don't like those games. I played the first one was also available on Xbox, so I played there, and then the second one was like only on Windows Phone and PC or something. So I played on Windows Phone, and I actually think both of them are kind of boring. Like they get old real fast. So I would love a proper. Yeah, I would love a proper Halo twin stick shooter because I do love that genre, and I think Halo's really, really ideal for it. So this is a cool one. I like that. Even if it's more like Vampire Slayer or something, that would be really fun to have something like that in Halo mix. Yeah. So for Alpha Dog Games for me, I literally wrote see Toys for Bob for further details. Alpha Dog Games will work with Toys for Bob. So
Wow.
we'll put a pin. You'll see. You'll put a pin in that, and we'll get back to it when we talk about Toys for Bob.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
It's a mobile team. It doesn't fucking matter. They go from making coin slot freaking casino games to making ports of freaking PS2 games. It doesn't matter. They'll make whatever. It doesn't matter. It's all just match 3 puzzle games. They'll be fine. All right, Arcane Studios. I don't know how you did this, but I broke them up into 2 teams and 2 projects.
Oh wow, so I did not do that.
Oh, I count Arcane as 2 teams. So you go ahead. You start.
Yeah. So let me get off my soapbox for a second because I love Arcane. I'm not going to preach here. Okay. So Arcane is fantastic. They make these great immersive sims like BioShock, like Prey, Dishonored. Obviously, they didn't make BioShock. I mean, games like BioShock, like Prey and Dishonored. Just fantastic stuff. Now, I think the thing separating Arcane from making great games and making something on the scale of BioShock is BioShock. The draw of it is the world. It's like this crazy underground city or underwater city with like big daddies and little sisters and crazy splicers and these powers and stuff, right? So while I prefer Prey the game, I think what they're missing is that kind of iconic world. So I want to see Arcane. I don't really have a specific title for them. I want them to make something original, but I want to see them try to capture a world like BioShock. Create something that has a world that you're going to say, wow, that's so creative, that's so original. I would have never thought of a universe like that. And do what they already do fantastic. That gameplay where I can go anywhere and do anything if I'm creative enough to find a way to do it. Take that great gameplay and apply it to a world like that. Create something so original that I wouldn't have thought of it. Stop relying on Dishonored. Don't make another Deathloop. I love Dishonored and Deathloop, but for God's sake, they're not resonating with the audiences. So make something new that will capture the audiences. So kind of a cheap cop out, but that's what
That's
I
actually
got.
that's actually not too far off from what I put, although I think you elaborate a little further. I broke my Arcane into two teams since technically they operate as separate teams. So the Leon is the Leon, I think that's their French team. Those are the guys that make Dishonored and Deathloop. So I'm basically putting one team on a risky new project and one team on a safe money making project or attention getting project. So I'm putting Leon on Deathloop 2. So as boring as that is, it's safe because it's going to continue to at least build that clout and that respect that critics and fans have come to have and associate with Arcane, which right now the brand needs. So Deathloop 2, that one's a safe win for them. And then for Austin, which is the team that made Prey and most recently Redfall, I said what they need to do, considering that Redfall screwed up their reputation so bad and made them burn through so much staff so many important people that they used to have at the team. I said what they need to do is basically restart from scratch and build their team back up. So what they need to do is build a proof of concept, something like what you're talking about. I think along the same lines, go for something that comes from the heart. It's like a super big passion project. It's all about building a really interesting world and leaning into like what Arcane does best with a like that kind of, I don't even know how you want to describe their worlds, like the kind of gothic horror-ish, but not necessarily not scary, obviously, but like kind of creepy, twisted worlds they build with their what's that? What do you guys call
Yeah,
it? Stuff immersive sim style mechanics and build something like that and make sure you can that's something that like speaks volumes to like I guess I don't know what Arcane is known to do, so you can attract back talent that you've lost as well as new eyes and in talent. Because right now that's going to be their biggest hurdle. Is just they don't have anyone, and right now it's so hard to get people with everyone being gobbled up left and right. It's like teams are being laid off left and right, but also new teams are forming like crazy, and it's going to be hard to get this kind of personnel back. So they need to do something like that, draw from their successes, avoid multiplayer, avoid trends, because that's what got them into
yes,
trouble with
avoid
Redfall in the
multiplayer.
first part. Yeah. So yeah, just basically something to get them back in the spotlight is what I said. So I was also thinking along the lines of Prey or Bioshock.
Yeah, and look, I love the idea of another Deathloop. Deathloop was one of the most fun games I played in years, but yeah, no, I respect it.
I know a lot of people probably just want Dishonored 3, but
Yeah,
oh well.
man, I would love
This
it.
is what you get. Under my leadership, this is what you fucking get. Shouldn't have poisoned Phil Spencer's turkey if you wanted something else. Anyway, let's talk about Beanox. What are you giving to Beanox?
Okay, so Beanox, for those of you who don't know who they are or today they're COD support. They also make some ports of other games to different consoles. Historically, they made like AA, like movie tie-in games, like the B movie game, Monsters vs Aliens. They made some of the Spider-Man games, like Shattered Dimensions, right?
Yeah,
So
those are
this is the
really
kind of
notable
studio.
games for a lot of people. The
Yes,
Spider-Man games they worked on.
this is the kind of studio we all miss but from when we were kids, and you'd get the movie games and the tie-ins and whatever. So I love this, and I didn't know some of the original instructions for this, so let's just say I pulled Indiana Jones out of a hat. I just, I came up with that idea all on my own. But I would give them Indiana Jones. I would say, hey guys, let's make an Indiana Jones Dial of Destiny game, okay?
Hell
Because
yeah.
that's all I want is
Olden.
that era back. I want my Peter Jackson's King Kong game. I want my Indiana Jones game. I want my movie games. I want my budgety garbage. Fill Game Pass with that kind of shovelware, please. Thank you, Beanox. That's
That
all.
stuff would do so much better on Game Pass. And also because none of those games are going to be as shitty as they were 15 years ago. That's the other thing. It's
So
like
true.
things are so different now in the world, in like the post Batman Arkham world, where like there's going to be so much more, as long as it's not tied to a movie and forced to be made in like 18 months, there's going to be so much more like excitement and skill put behind the game, and it's going to come out better. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a great one. I love that kind of stuff. And Beanox, yeah, Beanox is a really difficult developer to put them, so, to choose where you want to put them, because they've had so many different paths and there's so many ways you could use them. But that's a good one for sure.
And they haven't made a game in so long because of COD.
Yeah. Did you see the new Indiana Jones movie?
I actually didn't.
Oh.
I don't know. I've struggled getting to the theaters the last year or so.
I thought that movie was so much better than it got credit for. As someone who's never been an Indiana Jones like obsessed fan, as someone who just like, oh, they're fine. I watch them all, they're fine. I thought this movie was so much better than it got credit for. Anyway, doesn't matter. For Beanox, yeah, I struggled with this one a little bit. I think I changed my response to this one 3 times, but I ended up on Guitar. Anytime I'm bringing back a brand, I'm calling it Reborn. So they're on Guitar Hero Reborn, Beanox. And before you ask why the fuck are you putting them on Guitar Hero, it's because there aren't many teams available left to put on Guitar Hero, and there's no way in hell I'm gonna let Xbox own the Guitar Hero license and not make a Guitar Hero game. So Beanox, you're on Guitar Hero duty. They've worked support roles on Guitar Hero games in the past. I think they did like the DS ones, actually. I don't know if they ever worked on any of the main entries. Maybe they did some of the Wii versions. I don't know. But yeah, someone has to do it, and all the like Red Octane and all those teams are all long gone, and Neversoft and stuff. So Beanox, you guys are the closest thing we have to a Guitar Hero developer. So we need you guys to bring back the glory days, make me feel like I'm 13 again, and make me feel like I'm cool, learning how to play the orange button on expert mode. So yeah, Guitar Hero Reborn.
That is a great answer, but so that I don't feel bad, can we make Indiana Jones a guest character in Guitar Hero?
Yeah. Yeah, instead of like in Guitar Hero 3 where you like play against like Tom Morello or Slash, it's like Indiana Jones. He's just whipping bitches on stage.
His guitar is shaped like a snake.
God, Guitar Hero characters always look so stiff and shitty. I hope he looks like that. Anyway, okay, so that's Beanox. I'm sorry. Next up, we move on to Bethesda Game Studios. So this is probably one of the biggest ones.
Yes.
Yeah, what did you do for Bethesda, the Starfield guys?
So I could talk about this one for hours, but I'll try to do 30 seconds instead. So Fallout 5, without question. I'm a bigger Fallout fan than Elder Scrolls or Starfield or whatever. I love Fallout. So Fallout 5, let's do it. And my dream Fallout is number 1, New Orleans. Okay? We all loved the Far Harbor and Point Lookout expansions for Fallouts 3 and 4. That's basically New Orleans anyway. So let's do a New Orleans game. And in this one, can we finally... So in Skyrim, when I make a character, I can pick, do I want to be a human or a lizard man or a cat person, right? Let me do that in Fallout. Let me play as a ghoul or a super mutant or whatever I want to be, or a synth or something, right? Give me those kind of choices and make New Orleans... Yes, or a simp. Yes, I'm a simp for Bethesda. So give me that kind of freedom, make that kind of detailed world like in Elder Scrolls for Fallout 5, set in New Orleans. It'll be awesome. Let's do it.
That is so funny that you mentioned Fallout, because that goes against everything I'm about to say so much.
Oh no, he's going to give it to Fallout to Obsidian.
No.
Oh, yeah, not predicting.
No. Yeah, for Bethesda, I said they should go ahead and make Elder Scrolls 6, because following the audience's disappointment with Fallout 4, followed by the world's disappointment with Starfield, because people have bad taste in games. Now we need to go back and just do Elder Scrolls 6. This is kind of like what we're doing with Arcane Austin, where it's like we just need to repair the image and the brand. I think people are so fucking monkey brained about Skyrim that if you make an Elder Scrolls 6, it's kind of like, it's like that nostalgia fuel. It's like that fucking Saturday morning breakfast cereal that kids need in order to feel like they're in the 80s again. So just give them the fucking thing they want. Make your Elder Scrolls 6, put them back in Skyrim, put them in all of Tamriel, do whatever the hell you want to do. Make your Elder Scrolls game so the people are shut up and they're happy again. And then you go back and make Starfield 2, because they were wrong. Starfield's great, and it's going to be even better the second time around. And maybe this time you can expand upon the traversal system and how the ship stuff works. And give us those aliens. We want it. What are the aliens? Oh,
well, they kept hinting at it throughout the entire game. They were teasing aliens, and then they never showed up.
Wait for the DLC.
I guess that's kind of a spoiler. I should shut up, huh?
But yeah, so that's my plan. Is the problem with Bethesda is games take way too long to make now for them to not only do 2 games, this alternating franchise thing like they used to do with Elder Scrolls and Fallout, but
Yeah,
to
now add a
then
third.
complicate it by adding a third into the mix. It's too much. So you got to cut something out. And in my opinion, for my money, I think the weakest thing of the 3 franchises they work on is Fallout. Not because Fallout's a
Whoa.
bad world, but because I think someone else does Fallout better than Bethesda, according to what everyone else thinks and says. So
Yeah,
might as
fair
well.
enough.
I think everyone would agree unanimously Bethesda does best at Elder Scrolls. So that one is a given, right? And then it's what? You cut out Starfield and go back to Fallout? No. I want Starfield. I love Starfield. You given me a little bit of that crack, and now I'm addicted to it. So we need to keep Elder Scrolls. We need to keep Starfield, and then Fallout's going somewhere else. So focus on 2
Yeah,
IP, and that's it.
that's fair. I don't want to do that to another team. I don't want to take another team and say, "Hey, you're not allowed to make these things that you like and are passionate about anymore. I want you to just make Fallout." I don't want to do
Yeah.
that to an unmentioned other team that we're probably leaning towards.
Shouldn't have put so many laxatives in Matt Booty's cranberry sauce then.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough.
All right. Moving on. Blizzard Entertainment. So this is a big one. It's a huge
This is
one.
another soapbox moment. All right, we both grew up with Blizzard. We both, I know you didn't play it as much, but our older brother had a ton of their games when we were younger, and we played a ton of them.
I played a lot of
And
Warcraft 3.
yes, Warcraft 3. We even played a little StarCraft 1 and Warcraft 2, some Diablo 2. I loved Blizzard. And I have watched Blizzard deviate from that studio I loved as a kid. So you got a couple options with Blizzard. You can, one, shut them down out of anger, which is probably not a great idea because I'm a disgruntled boomer on Blizzard. Or let's get Warcraft 4, StarCraft 3 going. Come on, guys. Warcraft 4 picking up where Warcraft 3, the Frozen Throne expansion, left off. Forget all this WoW stuff, overcomplicating it. Because to this day, I'm still salty that, you had Arthas, the Lich King, this crazy character. And if I play WoW, I can make a panda monk, get him to max level, and go one-hit kill Arthas, the Lich King. Wow, what a great ending to his story that I just go and one-hit kill him as a panda. Like, it's an insult to a really great game. So let's pretend WoW doesn't exist. Make a Warcraft 4, make a StarCraft 3. Actually, everyone's really happy with the state of Diablo, so I'm going to shut my mouth on that one. Keep doing Diablo the way you're doing it. Everyone else seems happy with it, so that's good enough for me. I actually like Overwatch 2. I don't have much hatred towards that. That Warcraft mobile game is fine. So I don't actually have too much hatred towards Blizzard. I just want their RTSs back. They were the kings of it, and then they stopped, and it's sad.
All right. Well, you're going to hate. Actually, I kind of lament that we both played it so safe a little bit because I'm going to kind of echo what you just said. I also think they need to go back and make StarCraft 3. But first, I put Blizzard Entertainment will cancel and delist Overwatch as soon as humanly possible. Disassociate with any fan-made internet porn.
Deviant art.
Yeah. And the thing is, my first reaction was, oh yeah, Blizzard. Let's Warcraft, StarCraft, Diablo. They're so good at creating new IP. Let's let them make something new. And then I remembered, oh yeah, the last
In
2
recent
IP
years.
they made, actually the last 3 IP they made in a row. What was it? It's Overwatch, Heroes of the Storm, and what's the card game? What's the card game? Hearthstone. Although I don't have beef with Hearthstone.
Yeah, that game's actually kind of fun.
Heroes of the Storm and Overwatch, I'm like, okay, no, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. No more new IP for Blizzard. They're going back to their roots. StarCraft 2, let's make it happen.
Yeah,
or StarCraft 3, rather.
In Overwatch, do you know that the girl Diva who's in the mech, her canon story is that she was a pro StarCraft player. Like, that just hurts. That just hurts.
I want to hurt myself. I wish I had some of that freaking stuffing too that made Sarah Bond blow chunks out her ass.
Ew. Wow. What have I been eating this week, everyone?
Yeah.
All
right. Yeah, I really wish you didn't tell me that. She's top 3 worst Overwatch characters next to the fucking Concerned Ape or whatever that guy is.
Oh my god, I hate him.
Okay.
That's so funny.
So Blizzard's making StarCraft 3, Overwatch is no more, and we're feeling pretty good, and we're on to Compulsion Games. What do you say about Compulsion? These are your We Happy Few guys who have still not put out a game under Xbox's ownership despite being acquired in 2018. They really still haven't proven themselves at all because they've never really had a AAA budget or staff. So the game they're working on right now, South of Midnight, it's canceled. It doesn't exist. What are you making?
Yeah, I mean, as per our forum, there is no South of Midnight. So, compulsion games. I actually am one of those random people that thought We Happy Few was amazing. I absolutely love that game. So what I really want is We Happy 2. Not actually a sequel to the game, though. I really want them to. We Happy Few, I don't know if you know this, was a Kickstarter game. They had no budget, no anything, and they just made it with what money they could get from crowdfunding. So I want them to take Xbox money, staff up, take another crack at it, the same idea for a world, but take it in a new direction with AAA budget, money, time, staff, talent, and give us something absolutely amazing in that exact same world. Or alternate idea, I would be comfortable with them having something like trying to do something like a Portal kind of game, like some kind of puzzle, goofy adventure thing, because they already have some of that kind of tone. They're very goofy, they're very fun, they're very distinct. I don't know if you've played Contrast, but they also do kind of puzzle stuff pretty well.
Contrast is like a puzzly platformer, isn't it? I never played
Correct.
it.
Yeah. So if they were to do something like a Portal, some kind of like puzzle adventure game with like a lot of humor, dialogue, story, I could get into that too. But We Happy 2 or something a little bit more unique, I'd be okay with either of those. Just don't try to take them in a mainstream direction because I don't think that's where their talents lie.
As long as none of the characters are based on like fans of some other Xbox character.
Oh my god.
Master Chief's #1 fan fell into a vat of toxic rubber duckies.
Jen Taylor herself is the character in the game, the voice of
my
Cortana.
god. Oh my god. And she just wears blue tights everywhere.
Oh my god.
Anyway. Yeah, I feel like compulsion's a really hard one because I played We Happy Few for maybe 2 hours and really loved the first 20 minutes of it only. And I feel like I'm not qualified to really speak on this team and what their strengths are. But what I get solely from their box art and the trailer we have of the never to be released South of Midnight is that they are capable of making a game that is an action adventure game with some platforming. That's main draw is very simple yet fun action adventure gameplay with an infectiously charming world and unique characters. And if that's what South of Midnight is, then we can do that game. I know it's kind of a cheap move to bring that up, but if that's not what South of Midnight is, then I want you to do an all original game that is that. I like the kind of what do you want to say? What are they? Double Fine style art thing they have. There is something that's like slightly Double Fine about compulsion games in a way.
Very much.
And I feel like they could be like Double Fine's like lookalike or something if they maybe take a little bit of what they did with their first game and mix it with a little bit of influence from something like Psychonauts. But as long as they do humorous, charming, and compelling world building, I feel like they can make something simple yet fun. That kind of like Jack 2 what am I saying? Psychonauts style, like, like age 13 and up style action adventure game.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a risk with some of these compulsion, Undead Labs kind of studios of like, oh, now that we're owned by Xbox, let's make a AAA crazy game. It's like, well, guys, you do something really well. Let's not deviate so far that you're just a complete, gamble, like shot in the dark, whether or not they'll be good at making a AAA title. So, yeah, I agree. Find the fun, focus on that. Don't worry so much about, making the next Oscar bait PlayStation game.
Yeah.
Shots fired.
All right. So next up is Demonware.
I actually have an idea for this one.
Okay, good. Yeah. So we were just saying before we recorded, you were mentioning this is basically just the networking code guys that make Call of Duty run like butter and make the matchmaking and everything operate.
Yeah, so Demonware is hard because they're not actually a game studio. I don't know why they were put on this list.
They probably shouldn't technically be on the list, yeah.
Yeah, but they are a studio, I guess, that is owned by Microsoft now. So they make networking solutions for games, including Call of Duty. So I actually do have something to do with them. That works really well in Call of Duty. These guys are clearly good at what they do. You know who's not good at it? The
Oh,
Coalition in 343.
oh,
Gears 5 and Halo Infinite.
that's exactly what I put. That's exactly what I
Really?
put.
Yeah. Because those games, like, their menus feel sloppy. When I'm joining people in Gears 5, sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes we just can't play together because it just won't let me join someone, or I'm lagging out of their thing. I have issues with Gears 5 and Halo Infinite on this, and I really think that Demonware can fix that. So yeah, apparently I'll let you say the same thing again.
Yeah, no, I literally just wrote, these are the COD multiplayer guys that make it work well. Please, for the love of God, 343, help them out. They need some help.
That is
That's
so
literally what
funny.
I wrote. So yeah, so that's I have nothing else to say.
Yeah, yeah, that's hilarious. I guess that means that there's
Well,
something going on there.
it's actually a great asset for Microsoft or for Xbox,
Yes.
because Xbox has always been such a multiplayer focused publisher. So it for them to have someone like this is actually very beneficial.
Yeah, I agree. They have a lot of things that aren't flashy, people don't talk about, but like they've gotten several engines through all these acquisitions that I think are very valuable.
Yeah.
And yeah, things like networking solutions. Yeah, I
I
agree.
mean, listen, if you're the publisher behind Halo the Master Chief Collection, this is not a bad get.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so moving on, Digital Legends. This is one I forgot that I one time knew for 5 minutes who they were. This is a team based out of Spain, a mobile team that is working. They worked on some actual garbage. They actually apparently they've been around forever. Do you know on their website it shows they actually did the mobile port for Battlefield Bad Company 2 for
Yes.
iOS. Do you? I
That is
can't.
so funny.
I forgot about that, and I saw it on the website. I was like, "Holy shit!" Anyway, they're currently working on Warzone Mobile for Call of Duty because yeah,
Yeah, it's funny that you say that they're currently working on Warzone Mobile, because for them I put, since that they make these mobile shooters and things like that, if we're moving away from the current COD Mobile, I know that that's currently the trajectory. I would let them do the next Call of Duty mobile game, if it is Warzone Mobile, if it's whatever it is. That's exactly where I think that they belong.
yeah,
I guess you could apply that to any other of these IPs as well. You could do a Wolfenstein mobile game or a Halo mobile game, whatever. But I think Call of Duty makes the most sense. It's probably the biggest brand, so that's what I would do.
yeah. COD Mobile is really good. It's just sometimes you can really feel how Chinese it is, and I only mean that in the sense of like cosmetically. Like, I mean, it's just like fucking vampire knockoff anime girls running around shooting, and I'm like, how the fuck is this Call of Duty? And they're like running alongside like David Mason from Black Ops, and you're like, what the hell is this shit? But the game's actually fun. Like, they do a great job with COD Mobile, so I don't know. It would be nice if at least this team could aesthetically get Call of Duty's mobile efforts back into a respectable place. But
Yeah,
yeah,
and
that's kind of what I put them down for as well, is just do more Call of Duty mobile efforts.
yeah, and
Zombies.
I really want to give a hats off to these kind of teams, because, like everyone, I kind of wrote off mobile gaming for years, and then I came back to COD Mobile, and it was actually shockingly fun. So
Yeah.
that's not to, like, crap on any of these teams, but yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. The lesson I've learned the past couple of years is that there's a lot of good stuff on mobile,
Yeah, for
surprisingly
sure.
these days. But yeah, with the mobile teams, I'm gonna put less effort into them, and I don't care.
Yes,
Because I don't care. Anyway, we're moving on to Double Fine Productions. This is a big one. Maybe not so much for everyone else, but to me, I just have a lot of
I
respect for
agree.
Double Fine. So yeah, what did you put these guys down for?
Okay, so Double Fine is like your modern day of what Rare was like
No
15
fucking
years
way.
ago.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
So I am not putting them on Banjo Kazooie, if that's what you were about to say, though. Instead, I want to say, let's do what was the natural evolution of what Rare was, right? It was the PlayStation 2. It was your Jack and Daxter, and it was your Ratchet and Clank.
Mm,
And Ratchet and Clank was fantastic, and I think the modern Ratchet and Clank games have kind of lost some of that magic. So I want to see Double Fine step in, do something like Ratchet and Clank, and kind of bring that spark back, bring that magic back. Uh, that's what I would probably put them on. I'm assuming what you were gonna what you were gonna suggest maybe is not where I went with
yeah.
that,
Thank
but
God.
yeah, but
So
yeah,
redundant to be said.
I would say bring back a Ratchet and Clank style game. I'm okay if you obviously deviate it, make it your own flavor, but I think that platformer shooter combo is actually really fun.
Yeah, that ages well. It's still good. Yeah. Man, I really thought you were about to say what I was about to say. I was like, how the fuck did we come to the same conclusion? But I like that response a lot, just especially because I've always kind of considered like games like Psychonauts 1 to be very much in the, maybe it's because of the time it came out in, but it's very much in that pool of like Ratchet and Clank, Jack and Daxter.
Yeah.
So yeah, Double Fine is kind of an adjacent team to like old Naughty Dog and Insomniac and stuff in some ways. Although Double Fine ended up being like a high quality mainstream indie, and then
Yeah, they occupied a weird space. I agree.
yeah, but I think we're about to see a lot of that change for them now that they're Xbox. Anyway, so I was also thinking of Rare. I was thinking the thing about Double Fine is they do have some great IP, but now they got money. They got Xbox backing them. They can do whatever the fuck they want. They can do something a lot bigger
Like
than a
Viva
lot of the
Pinata.
IP. Well, yeah. So I don't want to. I genuinely don't even want to see Banjo Kazooie come back. I just feel like it's a place and time thing. And I just want to leave it alone, let it die. But there is one old Rare game that I think would kind of be up Double Fine's alley. The thing is,
Say
the
it.
caveat is you have to really change the sense of humor to make it work. So I think Double Fine humor, Double Fine creepy world building, that kind of
Preach it.
Tim Burton style thing, and then you apply it to Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Yes.
It's called Conquer Reborn, and it's perfect. You take Double Fine's sense of humor and replace that kind of like British style Rare humor that old Conquer had, and it's perfect for today's world full of fucking hot topic Deadpool loving kids. This is it's such an easy win. I feel like Conquer could be it's such a quip. Like you could have so many lines that like people would be like, oh, I played Conquer. I know I'm going to say that one thing from Conquer and try to like own it, like the way people always quote like Anchorman or Deadpool or shit like that. Like this could be one of those games. So take Double
Get
Fine, come
British
on,
voice
Conquer.
actors because then you'll win over a massive audience just based on that alone.
Yeah, I don't know. I
Okay.
really but the only other thing is it's kind of hard because Tim Schafer is also like one of those like savant type peoples, and I feel like you can't force a pre existing IP on him. He's gonna be like, no, I'm doing my own thing.
Yeah, actually,
But
he's one of those ones. You know how like we just lost, I think, what, Pete Hines. I think if you lose Tim Schafer, then Double Fine is basically worthless.
yeah,
So yeah, he is definitely an important figure. I love this. I love Conquer. I love it so much. I didn't. The only reason I didn't bring it up was I just figured no one will know it. But listen, if you're out there and you have an Xbox, go to your store right now. Get Conquer Live and Reloaded, the remaster of that game on the original Xbox, and go play it. You will not regret a second of it. It is amazing. That's it. Soapbox over.
cool. So Double Fine's making a Conquer game, Conquer Reborn, because everything I'm bringing back is called Reborn. All right, and that takes us to High Moon Studios, which is probably the last one where I think we're both going to have the exact same answer for.
Yeah,
But
for
why
sure.
don't you go ahead with High Moon?
So High Moon, I love it. I love them to death. For those of you
Oh,
that don't know,
yeah,
they
go
made
ahead. Perfect.
Transformers War for Cybertron, Transformers Fall of Cybertron. If you go back pretty far on PS2 and original Xbox, they made Dark Watch, which was like a Halo 1 inspired first person shooter that was like Dark West, vampires, stuff like that. And I want more Transformers. They did a fantastic job with War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron. Let's do more of it, okay? More Transformers. They were amazing at it. Why did we ever take them off and put them on Call of Duty support? It's honestly tragic. More Transformers. That's all.
Yeah. So I did have the exact same answer, but just to expand on this a little bit. So High Moon, the thing that's unfortunate is that the world actually kind of acknowledged how good their Transformers games were too, and then they were kind of removed from it. But
Yeah, it was weird.
the thing is, I think this is a great opportunity for Xbox to take High Moon into licensed Transformers and make you think about like PlayStation has Spider-Man, which is kind of like it would great for PlayStation, but it's like kind of sounds fucked in a way that's like, wow, Spider-Man, this iconic IP that everyone loves, is just locked behind PlayStation now. Spider-Man games used to always be multi-platform. You never thought that you'd have to buy a certain, align with a certain brand in order to play Spider-Man. And it's like such a good get for PlayStation that they have something like Spider-Man. So I think you take High Moon Studios, you give them the money, you give them the time, let them make their Transformers Spider-Man 2018 or their Transformers Arkham Asylum, where it's like, hey, we're taking the IP, we're taking all the stories that have been told in this universe over time, and we're crafting our version of this world that best fits video games and is kind of like really adaptable for like big men, children, man childs who grew up with Transformers and want to see it taken in a more serious manner. And I feel like that's what we get from them is Transformers Arkham. And yeah, so that's what High Moon Studios is doing.
Yeah, fair enough. I can't labor this point anymore. They were the best. They were so good.
Transformers is too good of an IP that like translates really well to gaming for us to have so few good Transformers games. That's the problem.
Yeah, I really hope that with this purchase we can start getting some back compat Transformer
It's
stuff.
it's racing, it's mechs, it's third person shooting. It's like this. It's like Spider-Man, where Spider-Man's one of those IP that just translates so well to a video game. It's like, how the fuck are there not more like masterclass Transformers games? It's such an obvious IP. But anyway, High Moon Studios is making freaking Transformers, and we're all happy, and our tummies are rumbling, and the PlayStation gamers are going, no fair. It's exclusive to Xbox. That game sucks. And I said, fuck you, dude, because I really want to play Spider-Man 2, but I don't have a PS5, and I cry every night about it. So now we move on to id Software. Why don't you
Yeah,
take it
and
away?
id Software, that studio that's claimed to fame, is still games that came out like before I was alive, before you were alive,
Yeah.
and to this day, Doom 2. And today they are still the kings of this, with Doom Eternal being absolutely amazing. My answer to this is not what I thought it was going to be, but when I went over other teams on this list, I had to revise it and say id Software is going to stay on Doom. They're going to keep making Doom games because they're doing it well, and they're making awesome games. However, the next Doom game does have a requirement. It has to have real multiplayer again. Doom Eternal's lack of like deathmatch really cut down my playtime. I would have spent a lot more time with it, but then it didn't have any kind of real multiplayer. So let's do another Doom game and let's add real multiplayer to it this time. And yeah, that's it. You can't beat the best. So let's just keep doing it.
Yeah, it's almost hard to not want to make them do another Doom game because for so long they just kind of meandered about and didn't really do anything of note. And then when they finally went back to Doom, they became instantly relevant again in the most like
Yeah.
massive way possible. So it's like, oh yeah, you guys probably should just keep doing this shit then.
Yeah, and I was tempted to say Rage 3, but honestly, I think that their version with Rage 1 was outdone by Avalanche with Rage 2. I actually think that it was outshone on that one. So, yeah, I'm going to say stay on Doom, and someone else on this list might get some other options that it does not.
Well, sticking with bringing back rare IP, I just think Grab by the Ghoulies and id Software is just such an obvious
Yes, do it.
Yeah. So for id, yeah, this is the biggest team that I gave the laziest answer to, and it's just because I really couldn't think of anything good, which is why I think your answer is probably the most logical. But I literally wrote new IP that shows id can do more than just Doom. Literally anything, surprise us.
That's so funny.
They're so good at like gameplay is king, over the top action, and in like just like badass aesthetics, like or sensory experiences with like the visuals and the sounds and everything. But like I don't know. It's like I guess you could translate that into something else, but like what? I don't know. Maybe they need to do like a Mad Max game or something.
So that's the thing, is that I'm not convinced that they can do something else outside of Doom as well because of Rage. I went back and played it, I think like last year, and it just didn't age that well. It's a game that really leaned on like its graphical fidelity and its amazing like effects and models and stuff. And that led to the gameplay just not really shining with time. So I'm not convinced that their future lies anywhere outside of Doom with that like fast bullet hell kind of combat.
But it is it is one of those teams. It's like no matter what, whether they're contributing or not, you don't shut them down, because if you
That's absolutely true.
Xbox has id Software, like that's just too important of a team. You let them do what they're gonna do and just hope it's something good. I'll let that one slip under the radar as leader of Xbox.
Yeah, from a historical context, they are one of the most important teams in gaming. So
yeah. All right. Speaking of important teams that have contributed to first-person shooters, next up is Infinity Ward, the creators of Call of Duty, and most notably known for their Modern Warfare series, both of them, the old one and the new one.
Yeah, and I don't want to rule out the possibility that we do have the same answer to this.
Okay.
But I want them to make a Halo ODST style shooter. We all talked about this a little bit when the acquisition was first mentioned, and I love the idea. Let's take Halo focus on Marines, actual humans, not Spartans, and do a first-person shooter that's a little bit more military, little less, moon jumping and trading out rocket launchers for needlers and whatever. Just a little bit more grounded first-person shooter. I would prefer it to be a little bit more on the tactical side because it is ODSTs and not just, Call of Duty, but with a Halo skin. But I think Infinity Ward could do something really cool if led off the Call of Duty chain. So let's let it happen. Make an ODST game.
The only reason I wouldn't authorize that move is just because if anyone is Call of Duty, it's Infinity Ward. Like they're
That's
the
fair.
actual minds behind Call of Duty. But then again, maybe that's, I mean, technically the actual minds behind Call of Duty are with Respawn Entertainment now. So yeah, so maybe it is just a name and it doesn't matter. But
and I would let Respawn make an ODST game, just to be clear.
Oh my god,
they
that
weren't
would be
an option though.
They would, yeah, they'd make too good of a. I worry that Respawn would just make too good of a Halo game.
343. Yeah, I actually agree with that.
But Infinity Ward, I would not say no to an Infinity Ward made ODST shooter. But my answer to this, and yes, it might sound a little boring to others, but you got to understand, if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you know that I have reverted back to my childish ways and become a COD fan once again after many years of not giving a shit about the series.
Boring of an answer.
So I'm sorry, but I think Call of Duty needs 2 developers, and to me, Infinity Ward is one of them. Infinity Ward stays on Call of Duty, but the way I'm changing it, because I'm so invested, not in Modern Warfare 3, because the new Modern Warfare 3 fucked up the narrative so bad, but I'm really invested in the world they built with Modern Warfare 2019 and Modern Warfare 2022. And so I say you stay on Call of Duty, specifically on the Modern Warfare series, and you do to Modern Warfare what they've done to Black Ops, where it's not this perfect little trilogy and it ends. It's just this dumb Fast and Furious style, never-ending action movie where every couple of years there's going to be another one. You know it's coming. So I just want to see Task Force 141 and these same old guys do the same old shit every couple of years, forever and always into eternity. The difference is Call of Duty only has 2 developers now. Infinity Ward is one of them, and they only make Modern Warfare games, and they come out on 4-year development cycles. So I want Modern Warfare comes
4
out.
years.
Yes, Modern Warfare comes out, and for 2 years, it's the only Call of Duty, and then the other team puts out their Call of Duty, and for 2 years, that's the only Call of Duty, and then Modern Warfare or Infinity Ward goes back again. And that is my plan. Just 4-year dev cycles, 2 teams. We don't need everyone under the Activision umbrella working on Call of Duty at all times. And fix what Sledgehammer fucked up, what Activision technically fucked up with Modern Warfare 3, because that campaign sucks.
I'll allow that if on the off year when no game is released, they do a big expansion or like content refresh in the game.
Yeah, that's what I want. You treat it as a 2-year live service game. I want new seasons. I want new modes. I want new maps. I want new little multiplayer events or kind of like the raids they did in Modern Warfare 2. Those were so good. I want stuff like that. Absolutely.
Yeah, you just cost Microsoft a lot of potential money that they would have made by cutting down the COD releases.
Yeah, well, they would have been fucked if I didn't step in. Phil Spencer's still freaking hurling over a toilet right now.
Fair enough.
The idiot went back for apple pie after he already said his tummy felt weird. Anyway, so yeah, Infinity Ward's making Modern Warfare 4, 5, 6, 7 like an uninspired Hollywood executive. Kronky's putting them on an ODST Halo game. And now we're on to In Exile Entertainment.
Yeah, so In Exile, for those of you that don't know, they're a team Microsoft acquired that's a little bit more obscure. They make like RPGs, but like in the vein of old RPGs. So they made like Wasteland 1 and 2. I think they made that game called like Planescape Torment or something. They make like older RPGs, but modernized and fun. So these are the guys that actually made like the original Fallout 1 and 2, like isometric RPGs. And initially I was saying, well, I want another game like that, make something like Fallout 1 and 2. But part of the rules of this weren't explained to me until a few minutes before we began. So I didn't know I could reference actually announced projects. And
well, no, you can't. There's no hard rules. You can do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah. So
if you want to change it right now, go for it.
Yeah, so the thing is, while I was going to say something like the original Fallouts, which I'm a big fan of, they kind of blew me away with Clockwork Revolution. So I'm going to let them just do what they're doing because it looks honestly amazing where they're currently at. So I'm gonna do what the kids say and let them cook, because that is honestly it looks amazing. So cop out, but I'm gonna let them
No,
just do what they're doing.
I originally wrote that same thing because I feel the same way. Because I don't have a lot of experience with an Exile. I know their history, but I don't play their games. So to me, Clockwork Revolution looks like the first thing they've done that has me genuinely hooked. That I'm like, okay, I got to play that game,
Yeah,
whatever it
yeah,
is.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So for my answer, I said that they should look over and see what the guys at Obsidian have done and do the same thing. So Obsidian, for all these years when they were kind of project to project, not Xbox funded, was making their
Obsidian, I'm sorry, Pillars of Eternity.
Pillars of Eternity. Sorry. So yeah, they've been making their Pillars of Eternity games, and then the second they got Xbox money, they're like, okay, let's do Pillars of Eternity, but like with the AAA big budget, and that's how we got Avowed. So Avowed is like the Elder Scrolls Pillars of Eternity game. I want InXile Entertainment to be able to do that exact same thing with Wastelanders and Wastelands, right? Wasteland
Yeah,
3?
Wasteland.
Why am I saying that wrong? What's Wastelanders? Is that a movie? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't know.
With Wastelands. So take Wastelands because it's a compelling world. And when Wastelands 3 came out a few years ago, I tried to play it and was instantly like, I wish this was for me, but it's not. And I couldn't play it. So take Wastelands, take that world you built, and make your version of Fallout, Avowed, Elder Scrolls, Outer Worlds, whatever the hell it is. Because I want to experience that in a open world, first person RPG kind of Bethesda style world. Yeah, with Wastelands, and I feel like this could be that more mainstream gateway drug to that world.
Yeah, I really thought that's what they were going to do at first. When we heard they were making a first-person shooter, I was like, oh, yeah, that's the obvious choice.
Yeah. So, yep, that's in Exile. They're making that. I mean, Clockwork Revolution looks so good. I'm so happy that that's what they're actually making. But don't let Phil know I said that.
He
Okay,
can't
so
hear you
that.
right now. He's still on the floor.
Oh, I'm not thankful for anything. All right, that brings us to King, which is the Candy Crush people that they got with Activision. King. So what are you
Yeah.
doing with King?
Well, Candy Crush 2, The Return of Calvin Candy, who's of course the bad guy from Django Unchained. Okay, so no, in all seriousness, look, I'm not a mobile gamer, so these kind of ones they're a little hard for me. But the way I see it is, World of Warcraft should be expanded to consoles and everywhere else. So I'm going to let King handle porting the game, specifically to mobile, but also, why don't we start the process of porting it to Xbox? Hell, it should honestly be on PlayStation as well. MMOs live and die by their player base, so you need the largest player base you can get. I think WoW with full crossplay, make it work. Honestly, I understand that WoW has so many different abilities and skills and stuff that it's difficult to pare it down to a controller with a handful of buttons, but let's do it. Everyone else can figure it out. You guys can figure it out. Let's get WoW on mobile and console and let King handle it.
In 2021, Candy Crush generated $1.2 billion,
Look,
making it
man,
the
look.
seventh highest grossing mobile title.
You're killing
857
Call of
million in
Duty's
2020.
profits.
Here's the thing. There's only one thing I want King to make: money. I don't give a shit what you got to do. King is just a front for bringing money in so we can fund other things at Xbox. You go do what you do. Go hook your soccer moms on Match 3 candy puzzle games on their iPhone 17 Max Pluses, and we will take those funds and filter it to teams that release games that are lesser successful in terms of like critical wide mass appeal, but more important to me personally. So your Double Fine games, your compulsion games type projects,
Your
King will
Arcane.
be yes, King will be funding those projects with their Candy Crush nonsense, and I don't care what the fuck they do as long as the money keeps coming.
King gets us Prey 2. Okay, I'm
Right?
sold.
Yeah, exactly. All right. What about Machine Games? This is the Wolfenstein guys that make the more recent Wolfenstein games.
Yeah, so
Technically, Xbox owns everyone who makes Wolfenstein. They have id who
like
created
anyone who's ever
Wolfenstein.
touched it.
Yeah, they have Raven who made the 2009 Wolfenstein. Now they have Machine Games that makes the current Wolfenstein games.
Yeah, so I actually think Machine Games might be the greatest single player FPS developer in the world right now. with their 2 Wolfenstein games they made. They're just so much fun. The storytelling's so good. The world, everything is fantastic, right? So the way I see it, if they tell me, hey, we have an idea for another Wolfenstein game, we'd love to take a third crack at it, instant yes, please. By the love of God, please do it. However, if not, I would like to give Quake to Machine Games instead of id. Originally, that was going to be my answer for id. No, Machine Games can do it, and the reason for that is that with these 2 remasters of Quake 1 and 2, Machine Games has gone out and made expansions and helped work on these remasters. Um, so clearly, there's like a love for the IP within Machine Games. So if that's the case, if you guys are already passionate about Quake, hell yeah, go for it, make it. Don't forget that a big part of Quake is the multiplayer, so that's a big new step for Machine Games. So I guess partner with Demonware. But if you can do more Wolfenstein, great. If not, you're already passionate about Quake, so let's make it happen. Machine Games not switching to an Uncharted-esque Oscar bait studio. That's all.
Damn, it was bound to happen eventually, but yeah, I put the exact same thing. I said, "Do to Quake what you did to Wolfenstein."
There you go. There you go.
I'm the same way. I actually love Quake a lot more than Doom, and I feel like its atmospheric space, like kind of horror thing, is just way too fucking cool to not take Machine Games' amazing storytelling abilities and like do something cool in that universe. So I want a violent, ridiculous, story-driven Quake experience, like we got with Wolfenstein, and there's no one better to do it than Machine Games. I agree completely.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Machine Games is just, they are so good. There's them, and then there's the what are they? The Metro guys. They are the kings of the genre right now.
Yeah. What is it? A44?
Yeah,
No, what's
A4, 4A. I think it's
A4,
4A.
4A. A24 is the movie studio. Yeah. 4A is the game. Okay, let's. I'm losing it.
Mojang, I think.
Yeah, Mojang is next. These are your Minecraft guys. I have a pretty predictable answer to this one, but why don't you kick us off with Minecraft? What are we doing
All
with
right.
Mojang?
We're going to get a Minecraft RPG. Like, I said that you could do it if you want in the vein of like Breath of the Wild, because I think that would translate well. But it doesn't have to be like Breath of the Wild. If you wanted to do it more like Skyrim, I would certainly have more fun with it that way. But let's do a Minecraft RPG, because every time I play Minecraft, I think I love this game. I love the little worlds. It's all so cool. It's so cute. There's nothing for me to do in Minecraft. I am not the kind of person that wants to go around and build crap and whatever. I want to like go on a quest. I want to be like, oh, this villager will give me an emerald. Not if I just hand him wool, but if I go to the dungeon and save his sheep from goblins or something, right? Give me an actual game there, Mojang. Please and thank you. I will take my Minecraft RPG and finally have a lot of fun with the franchise. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that almost seems like one that you can kind of assume will actually happen because it feels kind of inevitable. Although it doesn't seem like Minecraft Legends did all that well. I mean, Dungeons did really, really well, and I love Dungeons. And then I just like the idea of them continuing with these like other experimental, like babies first, insert genre here type experience for Minecraft.
Yeah, and I like Legends, but to be honest, it was kind of a bad idea. Like a strategy third person action thing, that was never going to have mainstream appeal. So I don't really know why they tried that. But I did like the game a lot. I just don't I don't understand who its audience is.
I enjoyed it for a few hours and then put it down one day and forgot to come back to it forever.
Exactly.
Yeah. My pick for Mojang is for a team, not everyone, but a team from Playground Games will join forces with a team from Mojang, and they will team up to create a new game called Minecart.
I actually thought you were going to say something like this. That was actually my guess for you.
Yeah, this is the worst podcast ever. Oh, I guessed that. Oh, I knew you were going to say that.
Sorry.
No, nothing you said. It's just damn. I'm that Wait, hang on. I hope this comes through.
Yes,
I just never thought that I'd be so predictable all these years being an Xbox podcast. Thought I had a really unique voice. Thought maybe I was different from everyone else, but I guess Ryan McCaffrey was better than me all along. Anyway,
That's so funny.
yeah. So for Mojang Studios, they're making Minecart with Playground Games. It is Xbox's answer to the karting genre. Fuck you, Mario. You're not the only one who can jump into a really small cart and go fast. So, yeah, Minecraft karting game. I feel like it could be a lot of fun. Minecraft's key mechanic is crafting. So I feel like you got to somehow come up with a creative crafting element. You make it all about creating your own vehicles and stuff like that. So I have like a really clever system where you can unlock all these different parts and like swap chassis of different carts and swap them with wheels. Kind of like how Mario Kart lets you pick like your vehicle, your wheels, your sail, your color, or whatever, right? But like do that way more like detail, like in a way that's like simplified so kids can easily jump in on the fun and get it, but it's a lot more detailed, so that you can have a lot more like customization and control over tuning your carts and you know, not like in real like Forza Motorsport where it's like, I'm going to change the compressors to add aerodynamic fluxes to the rear differential. Like you're not going to do shit like that, but you're gonna like you know, a lot of different items and things you can mix and match and craft your own carts. And then I feel like that would just be a fun game. Minecraft is a really chill, fun communal experience. I feel like it is the closest thing Xbox has to like that kind of game where everyone's just kind of always up to play, even though you play a game like Minecraft in a very different setting from how you play a game like Mario Kart. The two games probably attract very similar casual audiences. So I just feel like, you know, if anyone's going to do a karting game in the Xbox realm, it's going to be Minecraft. Let's make it happen.
Let me ask you this. What do you actually, like, as an aside, what do you actually think their next Minecraft spinoff is going to be? Like, if you had to take a guess.
Oh,
I would have never guessed RTS, so.
I think RPG is actually a pretty good one. But I don't, oh, man. If I had to get...
My guess is Brawler, I think. I think we're going to get something like Smash Bros. For Minecraft.
Well, they seem to do, like, kind of nerdy...
Like obscure
PC,
things too.
Like
yeah,
it's kind of weird genres. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was something like an RTS, like a proper RTS or something like that. I don't know.
Tower defense.
Yeah, like a tower defense, or a card battle game.
Oh no! Please don't speak that to life.
Minecart.
Oh no! It has a name.
I don't know, but what I do know is that they seem to stick within the confines of those kinds of like nerdy computer fantasy genres.
The response to Baldur's Gate 3 is a Minecraft game.
Yeah, but it's actually called Baldur's Gate 4 and it's a Minecraft game. Fuck you.
Oh no.
And guess what? It only has multiplayer on the Xbox Series S. So I suck at PlayStation. All right. Yeah, so that's Mojang. They're making karting games and card battle games and RPGs. Now we move on to Ninja Theory, a team I have a lot of. To me, like if I'm Phil Spencer, if I'm the new Phil Spencer, I look at all 36 of these teams and I say, Ninja Theory, out of all 36, you have the most to prove to me right now. So what are we doing?
Completely agree with that. So Ninja Theory made Hellblade, right? Like a walking sim with light combat and some puzzles. That was like a woman's journey through like mental illness and the loss of her lover or whatever. And it was this game that's like this. It's really just the journey of the character. I was like, is any of this even really happening? I don't think so. I don't think there are real monsters. I don't think I'm fighting them. I think it's all just her mental journey through this world, right? And then they're like, hey, we're going to make a Hellblade 2, and the monsters are real, and stuff's actually happening. And I'm just, why? It's like making a Gone Home 2. It's like, what are you doing? Stop. Okay. So instead of doing a Hellblade 2, we're going to keep that well, honestly, I think it's Gaelic, actually. I don't even think Hellblade was Nordic. But we're going to take that world, that kind of vibe, and we're going to make an actual God of War competitor, okay? We're going to make our Oscar bait. Forget about gameplay. We don't care about gameplay over here. All we focus on is making it cinematic and beautiful and having a guy that says boy a lot so that it wins Game of the Year and everyone loses their minds, okay? Gameplay takes a back seat. We're doing the Sony Studios idea of let's make our games win awards. Let's not make our games like fun to come back to.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
That's Ninja Theory.
I agree. I think Xbox is making a huge mistake with Ninja Theory, and they're trying to use them as their their PlayStation response. Yeah, their sad dad sim response. And I think
Sad
I
dads.
actually had the same thought when I played Hellblade. I was like, how cool would this be if it's like the game ends and it's literally like modern day and a girl wakes up in like a hospital or something after like an attempted suicide or something like that. And it's all just like a metaphor for like her mental struggle and her anguish and like or something like that, or maybe like it never even actually has a reveal like that, but there are just notes as the game starts to fall apart towards the end that kind of suggest that this isn't the real reality
Yeah,
of this
break
woman's
the
life,
immersion of
right?
that world. Yeah.
And then like leave it kind of vague and open to interpretation. I think that would be way cooler than being like, now it's a trilogy and she's on a quest to fight dragons. It's like, oh, fuck off, dude.
Yeah, that
Um,
really isn't what the first game was. I don't know why they're trying to do that now. And then let's
Hellblade
do a
is
gameplay reveal after 5 years of her walking through like an ice
right.
cave.
Hellblade ranks pretty high on the list of games that didn't need a sequel.
Yeah,
Um,
completely agree.
great game. It was a good one-off experience, but
Yep.
it's not a franchise.
It's the kind of game you play and you're like, wow, I'm going to think about that for the next couple days, and you move on.
Yep. I think Ninja Theory needs to go so far in the opposite direction. I want them to look at two projects they've done in the past and rip them off like fucking crazy with a brand new IP. And those two games are Heavenly Sword and Devil May Cry. You look at
I
those
didn't know
games,
they did Devil May Cry.
they did that one Devil May Cry DMC, which was
DMC?
like a reboot. Yeah,
Yeah.
they did that reboot, and then after that, Capcom or whatever went back to the regular Devil May Cry series. And I never played that one, but people say it's really good. I think Heavenly Sword is one of those like it's one of those like original IPs that comes out like the beginning of a generation, like Rise Son of Rome or like Phase or something like that, where it's like it like comes and goes, no one ever remembers it, but it could have been so much better, or it should have been recognized so much more than it was. Heavenly Sword is what I think if you're PlayStation, you should try and go back to that IP. It's just such a cool game, and like that girl is so fucking cool with her long red hair and like her fucking crazy swords. She's cooler than Kratos. That game had potential to be like more badass than God of War. Ninja Theory, obviously you don't own Heavenly Sword. That's with PlayStation now. Go make Heavenly Sword wink wink, like the knockoff version. Like we need that.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, Heavenly Sword was like the old God of War games, where it's like a hack and slash action adventure thing. I actually that's a great point. If you did to Heavenly Sword what Santa Monica did to God of War with that, soft reboot one,
or that, since
that would work.
Since they have a propensity and a desire to clearly be the next Sony Santa Monica, just fucking do it with something like Heavenly Sword. Yeah. But give us some gameplay. Give us something fun. I like the whole like powerful, badass fucking sword wielding barbarian chick thing. Like that's cool. Let me play that.
I agree. Random aside, I actually have a Heavenly Sword letter opener downstairs. That's what I use for mail. So I agree. It's very usful, that sword.
I still wear my Heavenly Sword. Yeah, I still wear the Heavenly Sword chastity belt to this day.
The letter opener is the key.
Gross.
Okay.
Yeah, so Ninja Theory, make a badass action game and stop trying to be artsy. Obsidian Entertainment comes up next, and this is another huge one, and you kind of already allude to where I'm going with it, but why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, so I went all the ways you can possibly go with this. First, I said New Vegas 2, and then I scratched that out and said that's a cheap and easy answer. I'm not doing that. No. And then I said Outer Worlds 2 because I loved Outer Worlds. And I was like, no, it's still not a good enough answer. So I went with, I'm going to go to Josh Sawyer, one of the game directors at Obsidian, and I'm going to say, hey, you have all the budget and time in the world. Make literally anything you want, okay? Anything. Your pet project. I don't care if it's like a Pentiment. I don't care if it's the Outer Worlds. I don't think he was the game director for Outer Worlds. Or New Vegas or whatever. If he wants to make a Fallout, if he wants to make a Halo game, I don't care. I believe in that guy because New Vegas is amazing. Pillars of Eternity is amazing. Pentiment, I one of these days I'm going to sit down and play it. It looks so good. I don't know why I haven't gotten to it. But I believe in Josh Sawyer. So my Obsidian answer is to give him unlimited budget and time and let him do anything he wants. That is my Obsidian answer.
Yeah, that's a good one. And now I'm going to piss you off by saying I think Obsidian, a team that's proven that they are more than capable of creating their own IP, should please the fans and make either Fallout 5 or Fallout New Vegas 2, whichever they prefer. If it's Fallout 5, I want it to be bumped up to like the 1960s, and I want it to like a Cold War era thing, and I want it to be Cold War Cuban Missile Crisis kind of post-war McCarthy thing. Although I guess that's a little later, and set it in Miami. I want something like that. I feel like that would be kind of a cool setting for
I
Fallout.
feel like that doesn't make any sense because the world's already over.
I know, but I want that. I guess what I'm trying to say is I want that aesthetic. I want like
that's
the
fine.
cars and the electronics and like the decorations to have that kind of aesthetic.
That's actually not even uncalled for. If Fallout 2 had a car you could use, so yeah, you could easily do something like that. That answer doesn't piss me off at all.
And for the love of God, I want
Fallout,
to be able to
it.
drive a car in a Fallout game.
Yeah, like like everyone else says, I mean, New Vegas is amazing. It's definitely better than Fallout's 3 and 4. So if Obsidian made more Fallout, obviously I would be, first in line to play it. I feel guilty making that studio work on Fallout instead of something else. I guess that's how I would put it.
And that is totally valid, and I actually feel that way too. But my justification is, it is clear that the thing that Obsidian does that people like the most is Fallout. And the thing that Obsidian is doing is the Fallout we have at home version with Outer Worlds. And so it's like, why keep making the thing you have at home when you could just make the thing that you made that everyone likes you for the most?
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Okay.
So Obsidian's making Fallout. People are mad at me.
No one's mad about that. That is the popular answer.
Grounded is still doing its thing in the corner, and now we're on to Playground Games, the Forza Horizon guys.
Yes. So, for some reason in the real world that we're not acknowledging, the Vroom Vroom Forza guys are the new Lionhead. They are doing Fable, right? And I actually think that their tone they're doing for Fable is perfect. I love the goofiness, the whatever. That's not even like the original Fable. They've upped it a notch from the original Fable. They have their own flavor through everything they've shown, through marketing at least. And I love it. I love it. So as long as Playground is becoming the new Lionhead, let's let them make my favorite Lionhead game, which is Black and White. It was a strategy game, kind of strategy, light strategy, kind of civilization. You play as a god, and you have your followers, and you're like spreading. So let's say there's another civilization on your island with you, and you can, build an army and crush them, or you can just make your civilization so great that people leave theirs to come and join you. Building your city and being a kind, merciful god, or being like a horrible tyrant. It was just a lot of fun, and it was really goofy, and I think they have the right style for it. So I want to let Playground make Black and White. Let's say Reboot Reborn. Black and White Reborn. Very obscure one that no one knows.
I like Black and White a lot. That would be so out of left field, but also so welcome and appreciated.
I have one more fun fact about Black and White, just right before we go. For some reason, the developers thought it would be a funny prank. So if your name is like one of the common names, like let's say Jason, right? You make your save name Jason, the game will periodically just whisper your name to you while you play, just enough to make you think you're going crazy. So you'll just be like playing the game with the headset on, and then you'll just hear your name whispered. You'll be like, wait, what?
Jason.
It's hilarious. It made no sense, but they did that for some reason. Fun developers. Fun era of gaming.
Yes. I love that. This is I don't have much to say about playground games. You kind of cheated a little bit with In Exile, and I did the same thing with Playground. I said Playground games should make Fable. Because, I mean, as the story goes anyway, Playground Games approached leadership at Xbox and said, we want to make a Fable game. We think we can make it. Please entrust us with this IP. So this isn't like Xbox, like someone had an aneurysm at higher up at Xbox and said, hey, Playground, you guys are really good at racing games. You should make a fucking RPG. It was like they came to Xbox and said, hey, we want to do this. So
yeah, just imagine what a disaster it will be if it fails. Like if it ends up being like a bad game. Oh no.
For some reason, in order to make your character move, you have to hold down the right trigger and they move like a car.
Very hard to turn.
Very hard. Why are there red lights on your character's ass cheeks whenever you slow down?
There's like blue lines that guide the like ideal path to walk
Yeah,
through the world.
man, I need a blue path in life. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah. So Playground's making Fable. I like just keeping them weird and making them do British stuff because that's what they're good for.
But in all
So
seriousness, if that fails, if they did the hey, we're passionate about this, we're approaching you, and then it fails, that's gonna really spoil that for other teams that want to like go out on a limb and make something crazy outside their wheelhouse. So we better all support Fable no matter what. All right, you hear that, Xbox?
I mean,
We're
I'm
buying
excited to
Fable.
play it. I think everyone's excited about Fable.
I think so.
I think it's gonna garner quite a bit of attention, whether it's good or bad. And I assume it will review kind of middle of the road because it's an Xbox game, but that's about it.
Yeah, but
But
I think Playground and Obsidian have the chance. Those two teams have the opportunity to actually be the 9 out of 10s that come out of Xbox. I don't think anyone else does, but I think they might actually pull it off.
maybe just because the Forza teams always get a little bit of respect.
Yeah.
But we do have to move a little faster because because Zencaster's going to kick me off in like 30 minutes if we don't wrap it up because I don't pay for Zencaster. So we're going to kind of do rapid fire on some of these smaller ones. So the next one is Radical Entertainment, and I'm going to throw it to you.
Okay, so this is another one of those budget teams. They made most notably they made Prototype, but they also made things like sports games, some of the crappier Crash Bandicoot games, Hulk movie games, whatever. So I'm just gonna say let's reboot Prototype. I know that's a game that has a lot of fan love. Actually, we're probably in agreement on this. I'm assuming.
Yes, 100%.
Prototype. Let's reboot it. It's a very beloved game, kind of as a cult following. Also, it's a direct competitor to Infamous. So why would you not throw money behind it?
It has a name, Prototype Reborn. They did a Prototype collection a couple of years ago, and you can get one in Prototype 1 and 2 on Xbox, like Xbox One, Xbox Series. And I have it saved in my wish list. I really need to buy that because I really want to play through both of those games. I know I'm going to like Prototype.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to go back and experience those. But yeah, Prototype Reborn, make it happen. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. I assume they're probably working on Call of Duty without credit. But go make Prototype. Easy as that. Next up, let's move into Rare, one of Xbox's longest oldest teams, and I'm curious to see what you got for this one.
Yeah, so the way I see Sea of Thieves is that it's like the ultimate pirate simulator video game, right? It's like the ultimate, I'm a pirate, let's get in my ship, let's navigate to this island, let's dig up some treasure, let's fight some other people, or fight the Kraken that's attacking me, whatever, right? So I want them to take that ultimate simulator thing and let's make a Viking game out of it, okay? So more emphasis on the ground and raiding and less on ship stuff. But let's do that. Like now I'm raiding a village and I'm taking all the treasures and taking it back to my hold or whatever, right? Do what you did with Sea of Thieves, make a Viking game like it. That is my answer for Rare. England of Thieves. I don't know.
Yeah. Sea of Thieves has successfully convinced me that the new version of Rare knows what they're doing and they don't need to go back and try to become this shell of something that they once were. And the thing is, I still believe that Xbox really needs to kind of like shit on Sony a little bit because of the Spider-Man thing, because it's just too big of an IP to lock exclusively to your console. So I think Xbox needs to get back by doing a couple of these. We already talked about Transformers being an exclusive AAA game. We talked, obviously they got Indiana Jones in the real world. That's happening. And I think with Rare, they need to do another one of these. So Hogwarts Legacy came out earlier this year. And it proved, just like Arkham Asylum did with Batman, just like Spider-Man 2018 did with Spider-Man, that we can take these IP that are usually relegated to being like cash grabby, cheap, budgety movie games, and we can make sophisticated, proper video game versions of these worlds and of these IP that people love. So take Rare. You get a small team of about 20 to 30% of the studio. They stay on support work for Sea of Thieves, doing new seasonal content, keeping that platform alive. Sea of Thieves is quite popular. It makes a lot of money. It has a big player base. So keep that going. And then you take the majority of your team, and they are now making a from the ground up Hogwarts Legacy style, open world, single player RPG adventure story driven game set in the Disney licensed Pirates of the Caribbean universe, where you create your own pirate. and you go on adventures with Jack Sparrow and Davy Jones and shit, and you get involved in this whole fucking narrative, and it's badass and it's really cool, and it's going to be a really good game.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I guess the only problem I have is that Pirates of the Caribbean is such a less popular IP than like a Spider-Man or Harry Potter that it's just like it feels like you're voluntarily playing second fiddle.
Yeah, but that's
Is
why
there
they
like a? Oh, sorry.
but that's the thing is it's like Xbox didn't get Star Wars. They didn't get Spider-Man. So they have to fight back with a couple because Transformers is way lower than Spider-Man. You know, Pirates is lower than
Yeah, but it's
Spider-Man.
way
Indiana
cooler
Jones
than
is lower than
Spider-Man.
Star Wars. So they gotta get like 3 or 4 second tier games in order to fight with that one A tier game that PlayStation has. Because what
Yeah,
else is
fair
as big
enough.
as Spider-Man? What else could they get? You know?
No, there's very, very few things. I agree. Although I will say this isn't really Xbox related, but the Knights of the Old Republic remake is apparently dead, so PlayStation
Yeah.
doesn't have Star Wars either anymore.
Yeah, although, but no one really has Star Wars. It's kind of third
True.
party now,
Now
so
it's Ubisoft
it
apparently.
just seems, yeah, it just seems like like anyone can have Star Wars, and anything that matters with Marvel is locked down to PlayStation. So it's like you got to play. I don't know, maybe you fucking get Lost, get like the TV show Lost or Breaking Bad or something. You make
Breaking Bad, yes. Rare is making a Breaking Bad drug
make your own meth. But anyway,
no.
we gotta move on.
Yeah,
So
yeah, let's move on.
Rare's making Pirates of the Caribbean under my leadership, and I'm happy about it. So next we move on to Raven Software, which is one I know you feel strongly about. So why
Yes.
don't you lead us off?
Yeah, so Raven made today their Call of Duty support. I think they made like a campaign for the Black Ops Cold War, but they're a Call of Duty support team today. Historically, they made a really good game called Hexen that was like an RPG, kind of like Doom, but it was fantasy. They also made more recently a first-person shooter, Singularity, that I personally love. It wasn't very critically acclaimed, nor did it sell well, but I loved it. It was kind of like Call of Duty meets Bioshock, and I thought it was amazing. So I would be content if they did either of those two projects, a new Singularity or a new Hexen. I lean in the direction of a new Hexen being preferred, with a Singularity re-release just for new consoles, so it's accessible. That would be my preference for Raven. Let's make a new Hexen game. Although if you want to take another crack at Singularity and try to do it over again, I'm certainly supportive of it. And that's all.
Yeah, yeah. For Raven, Raven is like one of the only teams where I'm kind of conflicted because even though they have been put on Call of Duty bitch work, the one and only time they were allowed to shine at with Call of Duty was because they mostly work on Warzone, which is such a fucking shame. So they mostly work on Warzone, but they did create the campaign for Black Ops Cold War. And while normally I would say Treyarch games are my favorite, and technically Black Ops Cold War is a Treyarch game, this campaign was all Raven Soft. I'm sure they consulted with Treyarch because they use their characters in their universe and everything. But this campaign was the birthchild of Raven. And to anyone who plays Call of Duty games today, like modern Call of Duty games, it is widely understood that Black Ops Cold War is a notable step up in quality from all the Call of Duties around it. Even though I like Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019 and all that stuff, it's like Black Ops Cold War is a significantly more notably good game. Like not like, oh, that's a fun game for a Call of Duty, but like that's genuinely a good game. It has really good choices, like choice-based gameplay, has really good storytelling, really cool moments. Like it has like your typical like action set pieces like any Call of Duty does, but there are missions in that game where it's like genuinely like badass stuff happens, like really crazy like mindfuck moments and like plot twists, and they got some like really insane villain characters and stuff. And it's just, I don't know, man. If you're nostalgic for old school Raven games and you want a new first person shooter from Raven, I recommend you download Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. You play that campaign, ignore the multiplayer, ignore the zombies. If you don't like Call of Duty, ignore that stuff, but play that campaign because you will feel the old Raven Software shine through in this game. It's really, really special. And I cannot say enough about how good that is. That being said, even though I love Raven, I think they did a great job with that game, and I would love to see them pair up with Treyarch and make an amazing Call of Duty. I am going to free them from the Call of Duty machine and tell them that they are free to make whatever they want so long as it is an all new first person shooter, brand new IP, untied to anything else we've ever seen before, unrelated to the Call of Duty universe. You take everything you've learned over the years and you invest in making the most AAA, full-fledged, unique, original story you can build. Multiplayer is not required, but completely optional.
I actually have a question for you. At some point, they have too many studios, too many games, too many IPs for everything to be multiplayer because they're going to start cannibalizing their own games. So at some point, they have to have more and more single player games just to stop from that happening. So in that case, I would say it'd probably be better to leave Raven's next project as a single player title so they don't
That's
try
my
to pull
part.
from like Call of Duty or something like that. I
Yeah,
don't know. I just feel like they have too many different multiplayer games. Um,
yeah. I want Raven Software to be more of a machine games and less of an Infinity Ward, just to be
yeah.
clear. But whatever. If they feel like they got an idea for a multiplayer game, throw it. Game Pass needs content at the end of the day.
Yeah, Singularity was from that era when they were just shoehorning in multiplayer modes to games that didn't need them.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
with you.
And shout out to Raven. God bless you. I hope things turn up for you now that you're part of Team Xbox.
And a worse option for Raven, honestly, replace Sledgehammer with Raven and like a rotation, let them lead Call of Duty. Honestly, I'd be happier with that than Sledgehammer.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I would take that. I
Okay,
wouldn't complain about it. But okay, we got to move on.
yeah,
So
let's
next
move
is
on.
Roundhouse Studio. For those who don't know, Roundhouse is well, what is their old head? Is something
Human
head,
Head,
human
Human
head?
Head.
Yeah, these were the guys that originally made Prey, not the Prey
Arcane.
from Arcane. This is like the old Prey from early Xbox 360 days. And so yeah, they exist as Roundhouse Studios today because they got shut down, then revitalized by Bethesda, and then acquired by Xbox. So, Kronky, what are you doing with Roundhouse?
Okay, so really quickly, I didn't know who these guys were, so I had to look into them. And yes, they were formerly Human Head. There's a big lawsuit and controversy about the way they switched to Roundhouse. Apparently, it was pretty scummy what they did. So I did a lot of reading about them. But yes, they made the original Prey. They made a game called Brink that was a multiplayer shooter made, probably like 10 years ago now, maybe more.
They did,
That was like a
I think they did.
parkour based.
I don't know
Oh,
if
you
they
think they
made that. They may have done support work. I think that game
Okay.
was
Yeah,
splash
you're right. That
damage.
was splash damage. You're right. I did see them on. Yeah. Okay. You're right. Actually, that makes sense. They made like this Amazon mobile horror called Lost Within. So truly, I don't know what to do with these guys. Because they're kind of all over the map with the stuff they made or worked on or whatever. Um. So I guess with that being said, I would let them make a sequel to the original Prey, just because I know there was a bunch of controversy. The new Prey game that for some reason got the same title, that's not a sequel at all in any way, uh, pissed off a lot of people because it wasn't a sequel to the original. So I just let them make a sequel to the original.
Well,
Help
there was
the
a
12 people
there.
out there happy.
Yeah.
Sorry, what?
Oh wait, no, never mind. I'm thinking of something else. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, so I just let them make a sequel to the original Prey, and Arcane, their Prey was a masterpiece, but also it's a masterpiece that doesn't need a sequel, so I don't see any conflict there. But they probably want to rename it for the lack of confusion. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so Prey 2 did happen. It just got canceled. But there's like trailers about it and everything. You can like see it was a game.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I actually played. So while I've never played the new Prey from Arcane, that's high on my backlog on my list of games I need to get to. I did play the original Prey on the Xbox 360, and I love that game. I would love to see the original Prey come back. So I think what you do is have Roundhouse make a Prey remake or remaster, and then if it goes over well, if people like it, if it's well received, I think you pair them up with some guys from Machine Games, and you bring back old school Prey. Even if you got like rename it, even if it's like Prey in all but name because of the confusion, bring it back, because old Prey was basically just like you play as like this Native American dude with a fucking shotgun, and it's like your wife or your dad or someone gets like abducted by aliens, and you go on like a Duke Nukem style first person rampage. It's fucking awesome. It's so good. Lean into the
Sounds fun.
goriness, lead into the campiness. I love playing as like fucking like Native American versus Indians. It's so cool. But keep it like violent and inappropriate and campy, and I think that'd be so cool. Which would be a different tone for it, because I think the original one was kind of serious, if I remember
Yeah, I thought it
correctly.
was a little horror-y.
Yeah, yes. I remember playing that like early 360 days, so I don't remember the narrative well. I just remember really enjoying the game itself. So bring it back, see, like, do a remake to test it with the market and see if it's well received, and if so, I say pair them up with Machine Games and say let's do a Wolfenstein style version of this.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
All right.
All
Next
right.
up, the
This is a
game
fun one.
developer that has me most frustrated these days. Go ahead, Kronky.
Sledgehammer Games. So I wrote not Call of Duty for F's sake. I'm not gonna swear, even if you will. Um, so I was saying you have two options here. You can either just make them an actual Call of Duty support team, which I think maybe that's where they belong, or if you really want to put them on an original project, I think they are a Homefront tier developer. So something like Homefront, that like lesser tier first person shooter that's fun and interesting, but not, you're not getting Call of Duty budget, you're not getting Call of Duty time, you're not getting Call of Duty staff. You're going to make something fun and kind of goofy and campy, but you are not getting. You blew it with Modern Warfare 3, and I'm pretty sure there was drama and problems that made them have to like step out for Black Ops Cold War, right? So Sledgehammer's just a
Yeah.
mess. So
Well,
we're done with that.
it seems like more often than not, Sledgehammer gets kind of screwed over. Like it's Activision's fault more often than not. Um, when these things happen. But that being said, I'm not taking that's a bad metaphor. I'm not laying off them. I still am
Yeah.
mad at them. I every time they make a Call of Duty, it infuriates me, and whatever. So I'm saying, Sledgehammer, you're on permanent support duty. You are allowed to contribute to multiplayer and nothing else. You can go do Warzone. I don't give a shit. I hate Warzone. Actually, maybe you should just be the arbiter of Warzone, because I fucking hate Warzone. But do not touch campaign. Do not touch zombies. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Sledgehammer Games, you were perfect. Because the thing is, to be nice to Sledgehammer, they're great at multiplayer. Vanguard is a bad game with really fun multiplayer. And Modern Warfare 3, the one that just came out, I'll say the same thing. Really good multiplayer. The multiplayer is fun on that game, but the campaign sucks ass. So Sledgehammer, you are a support team for multiplayer. You can make maps. You can work on weapons and things like that, and tuning and balancing. But for the love of God, leave the campaigns to Treyarch and Infinity Ward, please.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Next up, Tango Gameworks, Hi-Fi Rush, and Evil Within, and
Ghostwire Tokyo.
Ghostwire Tokyo.
Yeah, I'll keep this one brief. I'm a big fan of the Evil Within. I think Evil Within 2 is one of the most perfect video games I've ever played in my life. So, because the nature of this is horror's kind of you just make something crazy and you get into it. So, I'm not going to give them a specific title, just that Hi-Fi Rush is cool, but it's not the new direction for the studio. Keep it horror, so you can make anything you want as long as it's a horror game. All right, Tango, go for it.
All right. For Tango, I said Hi-Fi Rush. I'm just going to read what I wrote, because I wrote a couple sentences. Hi-Fi Rush proved that these guys can do a lot more than horror. Now, instead of making another medium-sized game like Hi-Fi Rush, take what you've learned and do something much bigger, like Recore, if Recore didn't suck. Fun, artistic, open world, action platforming style with fun writing, charm, and a killer soundtrack. Think Sonic Frontiers meets Ratchet and Clank. Yeah, I stand by that.
Exact opposites.
Yeah, no, well, because you like the Tango that does horror, and I like the Tango that does not that. And so, I want something that's like fast and open world and frenetic, like Sonic Frontiers, but that's like really good combat and action for like a third person action style game like Ratchet and Clank. But it has like a really nice visual style, really badass soundtrack. Just a lot of like flair and style and pizzazz.
Yeah. Well, if it makes you feel better, I think your version of the studio is what's actually going to happen. I think they're trying to get that more typical Japanese audience out of Tango. So I think that's what you're going to get, actually.
Okay. Recore didn't suck. Coming up next. Yeah, man, it'll be hard to see what they do. I don't know. They're going to probably split into two teams, is my understanding, because I think Ghostwire Tokyo is like still possibly getting a sequel that's not like written off.
Oh wow, I'm surprised. I didn't think it did well.
It didn't. That's why I don't understand why, but we'll have to wait and see. It was pretty recently reported that there could be a sequel under development. Yeah. All right, next up, the Coalition.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have a similar take on this one. This is your Sony Santa Monica. This is your Oscar level studio. Everything they make has that amazing level of quality. Nobody dislikes the Coalition. Even if you ignore them, you don't dislike them. So I'm gonna say, number one, keep Gears of War going. Wrap it up with Gears 6. Have a satisfying conclusion to the series with Gears 6. And then from there, your studio direction is to make something new, make an original IP, uh, and rip off Sony. This is what you're going to do what the initiative can't do. You're going to rip off Sony. You're going to make the Oscar bait game. You are going to make the sad dad simulator or whatever you said. You're going to make the next game that's going to get everyone talking about it for 40 years. And while nobody has fun with it, it wins 8 million Game of the Year awards. So go for it, Coalition. That is your studio direction.
Yeah, so okay, so I'm gonna do a little trickery. I did basically say the exact same thing, but I'm gonna lead us off in the next studio because I'm gonna do a tie-in. So we have the Coalition, and then this next studio we're talking about is the Initiative. So I said for the Coalition, wrap up Gears with a number 6, and then do an original IP. Lean into your strengths, which are combat and storytelling. Something entirely new would be very much appreciated. This could be your Sony Santa Monica if done right. Then take them after Gear 6, take the Initiative and put them in with Coalition, make them like a collaborative project, and create this new IP. This is your chance to out Sony and shut up those people who are saying, but we have God of War, we have Last of Us, we have Ghost of Tsushima, and well, now Xbox has got one, and here it is.
Yeah, that's great use for the initiative, actually. Yeah, I completely agree. What I wrote for the initiative is literally, they're unproven. I'm incredibly disappointed with everything we've heard so far. Whatever, just make something already. So, yeah, I completely agree with everything you just said. Perfectly acceptable.
Yeah. The Coalition, the Initiative, the prostate exam. Take all these teams. What's your next Xbox team? But yeah, no, I think people sleep on the Coalition. They're so good. But yeah, let's move on. This is one of my favorite ones.
Yes.
Toys for Bob. So this is Activision team. Let's hear it.
Yeah, they make, like, so far they've been doing like remakes of platformers, and I think Crash 4, which was an original platformer. So basically, what
But
you
they
said
also
earlier
do a lot
for,
of Call of Duty support as well.
yes. So what you said earlier for Double Fine, I'm going to say for Toys for Bob, either a new Conquer game or a Banjo Kazooie. You have the freedom to do either. I prefer Conquer, but if you feel like that's too mature for Toys for Bob, you can go the Banjo Kazooie route and keep it kiddie and light and friendly. But that is Toys for Bob. You're good at platformers. Keep doing platformers.
Okay, so remember at the beginning, yeah, we're at least on the same page that I want Toys for Bob to go away from Call of Duty and work on things with an art style. So earlier we talked about Alpha Dog Games, the Mighty Doom mobile developer, and I said we'll come back to them when we talk about Toys for Bob. So here's my proposal for Toys for Bob: we bring back Skylanders, and it's called Skylanders: The New Age. But Toys to Life is dead. It's a fad. It's not coming back. So we're not going to make plastic toys and sell them at GameStops and Walmarts. Instead, what we're going to do is reinvent the concept of Skylanders. So we'll still be kind of like a dungeon crawler, like Diablo-like kiddie version of that experience. But instead of it being like you buy these toys and you scan them into a portal, instead now it has a companion app. So everything's digital. When you're playing the game, you unlock different characters, you get different characters, you play the game, you progress. But then you have this app that Alpha Dog makes that syncs to your save profile. And when you're on the go, when you're at school, when you're at the doctor's office or wherever you're just not home, you can go on to the Skylanders New Age app. And it's like a companion app where you can like socialize with friends. You can like do various mini games. You can collect different items and do like daily challenges. And it has like a mobile game component to it where you can like unlock pieces, unlock characters, unlock various items that you can then port back into the base game when you're back home playing. And that way it has this kind of Pokemon effect of like, it's something to do on the playground at school with your friends. You can collect and trade and unlock and train and, stat up your characters by like playing these mini games within the mobile game that will make them stronger. So when you go back into the game now, you can do this dungeon, you're a higher level and things like that. So you kind of like, it's like super game, kind of like what I keep speculating Sega or Sega Sega's new concept for their super game thing is all about, where it's like you merge the mobile game with the traditional $70 platform game, and you find a way to expand that so you're consuming more of the player's time. So yeah, I love it. I
Man,
think
you
kids
are earning your paycheck more than I am as CEO of gaming.
that's not me trying to do a good job for the podcast. That's just me being passionate about kids games.
All right. Can't refute that.
It's either that or Guitar Hero.
They can make the little plastic guitars for you.
Yeah. All right. Now we move on to Treyarch, the best Call of Duty developer. What do you have to say?
Yeah, so again, kind of keeping it fast because I know time crunch. So I would lean into the zombies side of Treyarch. I thought they always did well with that. So I'm going to say use that kind of energy. Make one of those like kind of like spooky, not horror first-person shooters. Something kind of like a Redfall where, again, it's not horror, but it is kind of like, oh, this is like Halloween-y, it's spooky, it's whatever. There's maybe zombies, maybe skeletons, maybe whatever. But it's a first-person shooter set in that kind of like dark, Tim Burton-y kind of world.
I would take that. I'll eat up anything with zombies. So yeah. For my Treyarch, I gave the boring answer. It's the exact same thing as Infinity Ward. I only want two developers really making Call of Duties now. It's Treyarch and Infinity Ward. So Treyarch is permanently on Black Ops duty. They do every 4 years a new Black Ops game. So that means every 2 years you get a Call of Duty game, right? So it'll be like an Infinity Ward game, and then 2 years. No, that doesn't make sense. It'll be every 4 years. My math is wrong. So every 4 years you'll get it. Wait, how does that work? Whatever.
4-year dev cycle means every 2 years you get a COD game.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yes. So that I am right. So yes. So you get a Black Ops game every 4 years. You get and then on the off alternating years. So there'll be a year with a Black Ops game, then a year off, then a year with a Infinity Ward game, right, and then a year off, then a year with a Black Ops game.
Yes.
Yep.
Exactly.
That makes sense. So that's how we're going to do it. And you have a couple little support teams helping you out. Sledgehammer's fine-tuning some multiplayer details. But Treyarch is doing what they do best, making badass Black Ops campaigns that are set in slightly old times, but not future times, because Black Ops 3 sucks, and making kick-ass zombies because zombies is the best. All right. Next up is Turn 10 Studios. This is the original Forza guys. What do you put for this?
Yeah, so I don't like Forza very much. So I said, make it a little bit more arcadey. Sony will make a Twisted Metal TV show, but they won't make a Twisted Metal game. So Turn 10, you get to make the Twisted Metal TV show, because Playground is too busy making Fable or Black and White or whatever. So you get to make the arcadey racer game. So it's cars that move fast and have guns on them and shoot other cars and have all kinds of fun, crazy chaos with a fun game to move your car in. For God, Forza, it doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me. So let's do something fun. Make, again, a vehicle combat game with Turn 10.
With actual licensed cars too, so I can
blow
up all the minivans that are slowing me down on the highway. Yeah. Oh yeah, hell yeah, feels powerful. Yeah, for Forza, this might sound lazy, but I think Turn 10 is so good at what they do, and they just need to keep doubling down on Forza. Forza needs to continue to be a platform, not an iterative every other, buy whatever game every other year, whatever. So double down on Forza, but also double down this like Forza platform thing. So have more social aspects. I think they need to do like live events like MMOs do, where it's like, oh, this Saturday there's a car meetup in Forza, and like you can like go to these meetups and like show off your cars and hang out with people and socialize, and make it more of a social platform for like car heads, because I just think the thing Forza needs is more like communal aspects. But otherwise the game is already the best at what it does. It's just it's a phenomenal sim racing game, and just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. And then next is Undead Labs. These are the State of Decay guys. What did you put for them?
All right, so you're going to reboot State of Decay from the ground up. It is not going to be a live service game, but it is going to be your The Last of Us competitor. It is going to be your very story-driven. It's going to be, like Walking Dead, The Last of Us. Here's our bleak, dreary world. We're the survivors. Here's our emotional storytelling. But this time, let's have fun gameplay. Okay, please have fun gameplay. Unlike, The Last of Us is fine, but it's like walking straight and shooting a couple times and then crying a lot from storytelling. Let's have like a real game and do that kind of like The Last of Us thing. And not live service. I'm so sure the next game's gonna be live service.
Yeah, see, I also want them to go in a very different direction with State of Decay, but still make State of Decay. But I don't want it to be as serious. I want mine to be a little more tonally like Left 4 Dead, where maybe it's kind of like a movie, like a zombie movie, but like
Like a
lean into
self-aware
the
one.
yeah, but lean into the narrative aspect of it. State of Decay 3 is really heavily into like the resource management and the survival aspects. And I know that's kind of the crux of the game, but I think you should adopt a new mentality and make it a full, like a fully polished AAA feeling, non-janky zombie game where it's not so like resource management heavy. Work with Treyarch a little bit, aka the gods of zombie video games. And then make a really amazing first person. Now the game's switching from third person to first person zombie combat with substantially more satisfying gameplay. And then have it be open world, kind of Far Cry sandbox style, where it is this game of like trying to survive the night, kind of, or I guess that'd be more like Dying Light. So yeah, something like Dying Light meets like Left 4 Dead with like a more Call of Duty zombies feel to it, where I want it to be like this story. Oh, dude, you know, what'd be cool is if it was like the story is like you're in a zombie movie, but then it turns out the zombies are real, and now you're like this team of actors trying to survive a zombie apocalypse, and you're like ill-equipped to do it.
Like that one Call of the Dead map on
Oh, damn, that's a
Black
real
Ops.
thing. Never mind. In fact, you know what? Shut down Undead Labs. I don't care about you guys. I just want the zombie fighting to feel satisfying and fun. Like that's the problem with State of Decay is like it's cool
I
for a little
agree.
while, and then you realize it's like janky, and the mechanics don't feel that good. It's so focused on survival and resource management, and then I
Yeah.
get bored and I move
And
on.
the base building makes me think of those mobile games that's kind of like Clash of Clans, where it's like build your town, do this.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It does kind of look like a Facebook ad sometimes when you're playing
it
that game.
does.
But yeah, so just do anything other than what you've been doing, and it should be good. And then next up is we got two more. World's Edge. This is going to be maybe a challenging one. What did you put for them?
So World's Edge is actually like the initiative. They don't really make games themselves. They partner with other teams, right? So World's Edge is the team tasked with shepherding the Age of Empires IP. So on this one, I don't have much to say because they don't really make games. They just Relic made Age of Empires 4, and they did a great job. We don't really need World's Edge doing anything at this point. So with that being said, I'm going to say all the way back when I said Playground is making Black and White, World's Edge is going to collaborate with them on that since that's a new genre, new world for Playground to step into. World's Edge is going to, kind of shepherd them through the process of making a strategy game. And that's all. I'm not going to belabor that point.
Mm. So I guess we're kind of in a similar vein where we want to go back and touch on old RTSs, which I guess is kind of their specialty, so it makes sense. But for me, I said what World's Edge needs to do is because Blizzard couldn't be trusted with remaking Warcraft games, take old Warcraft and Starcraft games, give them to World's Edge, and have them like shepherd and create proper remakes and remasters of old Warcraft and Starcraft games. Get them on console for the very first time, so Xbox players can enjoy these games. Somehow retool them so they're accessible on console, and then of course make these remasters available on PC as well, so that they can be modernized and enjoyed today.
I'd play them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Blizzard. Sorry. And then the last one is ZeniMax Online. This is your ESO team, Elder Scrolls Online.
Yeah. You skipped Xbox Game Studios Publishing.
They don't count. Yeah, they don't count.
I actually put an answer for them, so that's funny.
Okay,
All right.
then go ahead.
No. So ZeniMax Online, I'll say I like what you guys currently have, but your new player experience sucks for everything, for ESO and for Fallout 76. As a new player going in, these games are overwhelming. This is a common problem with live service games, and they have that problem. So number one, focus on fixing your new player experience. And number two, if you have to make a new game, there was a online shooter called Enemy Territory Wolfenstein that was just like an online shooter and whatever. I'm going to let ZeniMax Online spearhead bring about a new Wolfenstein Enemy Territory game. Give us, like a big online shooter set in the, Machine Games Wolfenstein universe. And that's it. I'll leave you there.
That's a good answer. Oh my god. I'll take anything to Wolfenstein. More Wolfenstein would be good. Cool. So my ZeniMax Online is kind of like a part two to my World's Edge, where I again, World of Warcraft, now it's under Xbox, need to get it on the console. who's better at MMO console games than ZeniMax Online. Take the Elder Scrolls Online guys and say, you got to work with Blizzard and figure out how to get this game on Xbox once and for all. And we're going to get World of Warcraft onto Xbox.
Yeah. I already gave that task to King, so I
Yeah.
already covered myself.
Well, King's so busy making money for me that I had to give to someone else.
Fair. All right, just throwing it out there. Xbox Game Studios Publishing was on this list for some reason, so I said that their task is to partner with Avalanche again to make another Rage game because Rage 2 was severely underrated. That's it.
Yeah, they're making Contraband right now.
Yeah, but you could do better with a Rage 3. And besides,
Rage
Contraband's
3.
vaporware at this point.
Yeah, Rage 3.
Yeah,
you're gonna see Contraband at the Game Awards now, just for saying that.
Yeah, and actually, I might. Yeah, that might actually happen.
Cool.
And that's it. That is all the Xbox Studios.
Yeah, this was fun. I liked doing this. I was gonna do some comments next, but Zencaster I think is about to boot me off because this recording is at an hour and 55 minutes. So we are gonna have to basically close out now. But I did just want to say thank you for doing this with me. I had a lot of fun. I'm sure if anyone listened all the way to the end, they're probably pretty upset about a couple things that were said. So please, I encourage you guys to write in, tell us how you would have assigned these teams differently and things that we got wrong, things that infuriate you and make you want to stop your car and pull over and dry heave. And so let me know.
King really should have made, I don't know, Overwatch 3. My bad.
Yeah. All right, Kronky, real quick. Thanksgiving, turkey or ham?
Turkey.
Wrong.
Turkey, definitely. Yeah, it's lower calorie.
Mashed potatoes or stuffing?
Stuffing.
Wrong again. Mac and cheese or green bean casserole?
Mac and cheese, definitely.
All right, apple pie or pumpkin pie?
Apple pie.
What else do you eat at Thanksgiving?
Gravy or, I don't know, what's another sauce?
Gravy or ketchup?
I'll take the ketchup, I think. I'm not a big gravy person.
Black Friday or Cyber Monday?
I get Black Friday off work. I don't get Cyber Monday, so I'll take Black Friday.
All right. All right. Enjoy your ketchup turkey. Black Friday.
Apple pie.
Apple pie.
All right.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you for doing this. And thank you for everyone for listening. I know this is a little different as normally we don't do an episode that's kind of like this unless it's maybe like the very end of the year and there's literally nothing going on in the news. But I am in the moving process and it's a major holiday. So I feel like this is kind of fun, festive. Although it's not technically Thanksgiving themed what we did. It's just I just forced it to be Thanksgiving because I say it is. It doesn't make it Thanksgiving themed, but okay. It's okay. It works. Thank you, Kronky, for being here. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Have a safe and happy holidays. And if you're a Canadian listener, you already had Thanksgiving, so you're very confused why we keep talking about this, aren't you? Power your dreams.
All that I'm holding is myself tonight. All that I'm holding is myself tonight.